Hello there, Drew Hanish of Whiskey Lore, and time for another whiskey tasting. Today we are doing a tasting of Wild Turkey. And this is Wild Turkey 101, but this is not bourbon. This is Wild Turkey 101 rye. And the last time I went to Kentucky, boy, it's been a while. I went to Kentucky to go interview Tom Rippey, which you can hear on the Whiskey Lore, the Interviews podcast, where he tells all about the Rippey family and how things were in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, and Tyrone, Kentucky, and the development of the Wild Turkey brand out of what the Rippey brothers had started. And after I got done with the interview, we were going over to the Rippey mansion, and I think, we had from Old Dominic in Memphis, we had Alex Castle, their master distiller, doing a presentation. So I wanted to go see that. But I rushed over to the distillery and the visitor center to go buy myself a bottle of Wild Turkey 101 rye because I didn't own one. And one of the characteristics I really love about Wild Turkey is that high rye impact that is in that particular whiskey. So, bought myself a liter, came back home, was excited, had never had it before, tasted it, and went, I'd been tasting a lot of ryes at that time, and so I just was kind of like, this is all right, I guess. What I have since learned is that I need to categorize my rye whiskeys in one of two categories. Either it is a rye whiskey, or it is a barely legal rye whiskey. And when we talk about Rittenhouse rye, that is 51% rye in the mash bill, just enough to make it legal. Same thing with Wild Turkey 101 rye is 51% corn, and then it is 51% rye, 37% corn, and 12% malted barley. And so when you get that, then your anticipation should be that you're going to get some bourbon characteristics in your rye whiskey. This is going to be a bridge to drinking rye whiskey, but it's not going to be the purest of rye whiskeys. So it's amazing how a change in mindset can actually improve your opinion of a whiskey, because if you're expecting it to be like a 95.5 rye that is going to be free of corn influence, then you're going to have a disappointment if you all of a sudden are starting to get some of those corn flavors. But if you taste this like it is, knowing that this has some bourbon-esque characteristics to it, you'll end up liking it a whole lot better. So let's do a nosing on this. So the nose on this one, to me, is very oak heavy. There is a hint of mint that I pull in here. It has an herbal rye character to it, but the barrel is really having a lot of influence on the nose on this one. Cheers. What I missed the first time I drank this, that I love now, is this creme brulee. At a 101 proof, this is a very full whiskey. When it hits the palate, it has a really nice mouthfeel to it, and you get that creamy creme brulee coming in, and then it goes into this, it suddenly dries out into an herbally rye, which, if you're not expecting it, could probably be a little bit off-putting. But then it starts evolving on the finish. And I love a whiskey that evolves on the finish. And this one, you go a little bit of a chocolate note in there. You get the herbally rye note in there. There's this sweet factor, almost like a brown sugar that comes in, and you're left with caramel on the finish. And it just it just lays there. And there's a little hint of that rye still hanging out, but the creme brulee to me is the star of the show on this whiskey. It is, it almost gets too sweet. With that rye, it almost gets to a point where the sweetness overwhelms. So this is a whiskey that I would drink when I have maybe a little bit of a sweet tooth, end of the evening, or I've had a meal, and a savory meal, and I want something to be a counterpoint to that. Maybe I jump in and drink this in that particular situation, because there is a lot of sweetness to this, a lot of sweetness. You get a little bit of grain note in there, a little bit of a leather note that comes in on the palate. But like I say, creme brulee is pretty much the star of the show on this one until it gets to the finish, and then it just dries right into being rye with a nice little hint of caramel going on the finish. Very interesting whiskey, one that I was a little disappointed that I went and bought the liter size initially, but now I'm kind of happy I have this, because I think it is a whiskey that I just had to find the right mood to drink it. I had to get out of my, I want to taste rye without corn influence mood. And now that I've kind of mellowed on that a little bit and I'm open to tasting other things, this definitely has its place on the shelf. And like I say, it's mostly going to be when I have a bit of a sweet tooth going on. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you would like to see more of these videos, make sure you like this one to let me know that you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you'd like to watch more in the future, and leave your comments. I would appreciate it. You guys are the best. Until next time, cheers and slanjuba. That is good. It is sweet, but it is good.